Hi, I'm Johnny, and this is Comics Altruism. This is my entry into Lady Fantastic's Road to 300 subscriber contest, and she's given away a bunch of comics, and they're awesome. So, Lady Fantastic, you're actually at 335 at the moment, so as of the taping of this. So congratulations on that, and keep up the good work, because I'm sure you're going to get to 400 in no time. She wants us to talk about 5 comic book characters with whom we relate and why. And by the way, I'm going to leave a link to her contest announcement video so that you can get the details there and take a look at all those sweet books she's offering. So, 5 characters. You'd think that would be really easy, but it's actually not. Like, I had to go through a lot of my collection, and unfortunately I got everything all boxed back up, so I'm not going to be showing you the tangible physical copies of the books that I'm talking about, those characters. But you've already seen most of them anyway. In fact, I think I've talked about the majority of these characters before, so I'm going to keep this brief. Alright, number 1, Spider-Woman. At least the first 10 issues of that 1978 run, the writers of those books really understand the fact that comic nerds, even back in 78, there's always like a sense of otherness, like being outsiders, sort of. It's not so much the case anymore because comic nerddom is actually cool now. So back in the day, though, it was not. And most of us have been collecting since we were kids when it wasn't cool and where it was something that we kind of had to, like, if we were, say, 11 or 12 when it was no longer cool, we kind of have to keep that to ourselves or whatever. And even nowadays, I mean, I think people think it's a little bit weird that a 40-year-old dude, I'm not 40, but a 40-year-old dude, that he's so invested in that as a hobby. Alright, so her, with her understanding of alienation and social lack of acceptance, even though we find out that it's actually all in her head and that's a part of her talent. Which leads me into number 2, which is Legion. And I'm going to let you use your imagination as to why I relate to Legion, but I will clarify, I don't have dissociative identity disorder. I haven't been committed at any point. I also don't have godlike powers, but there are a lot of reasons that I relate to the character Legion, and I'm just not really comfortable sharing that with you. But if you watch that show, holy cow, it's so good. I'm almost done season 3, and I'm pretty sure that's where they end it, finally, like, done. But yeah, that is an essential show for everyone to watch. And you might understand a little better why I'm saying that I relate to Legion. It's more so for the show than it is for all the books that I've read with him in them. Next up, kind of taking the logical step from mental illness into addiction, Ironman. As you saw in one of my videos, maybe I'll put like a picture up here of me holding the book. I don't know, I'll try anyway. Ironman is an alcoholic, and I happen to know a thing or two about that. So Ironman definitely, unfortunately, I'm not like a brilliant mathematical and scientific mind, but I do have that in common with him anyway. And another one that I have not that much in common with, but I do understand a little bit about disability because I was deaf as a kid, Daredevil. And he's blind, but he's got all of his other senses are heightened. I'm wondering if that's why I had such good eyesight as a young person. Unfortunately, it's starting to go. My peripherals are still amazing, my long view is amazing, but I start to get really tired when I read now, which is unfortunate considering that comic books are my main hobby. But yeah, I understand disability. I also understand having a diehard sense of what's right. And Daredevil, like, he knows what's right, and that's that. He's very stubborn. And I wouldn't say that stubbornness is necessarily one of my defining traits, but the fact that he stands by his motives and his morals without question. Like, you take the fight against Submariner, where he's just like, ah, come on, that's all you got? Like, I got 2 more ribs you can break. And he just, like, doesn't stop, and he would be willing to die at the hands of Submariner if that's what it took. So, yeah, I guess stubbornness / disability, I get it. Not to the extent that Super Russ, well, I know Lady Fantastic, you've watched his video. The rest of you should check out his entry into this contest too. It's really good. So he understands blindness, I understand deafness. And this leads me in another logical step to one of those things that I'm just dead set there's stuff we can do is Captain Planet. Not so much because I racially stereotype people. That's a joke for anybody who understands Captain Planet. But yeah, just awareness of certain ecological problems that have been happening for a long time. And ever since birth, I always had this sense, like as far back as the 80s, where it's like, this is not sustainable. Like this is like a bubble, you know, like we know about economic collapse, how that's an inevitability with the system that we currently have. And there need to be amendments made to the economic system in order to keep it from completely collapsing in the relatively near future. The same thing applies to the treatment of the environment, our environment. It's life evolves, so there isn't as much to worry about as some alarmists would like to say, but it's a very real problem and it requires immediate attention. So yeah, Captain Planet, forgive me for getting all political on you. A lot of people don't agree with my point of view, but the fact that I noticed it as a child, and children generally have a pretty accurate view of what's going on and where things are going, which is strange considering that adults are supposed to have that logic embedded in them to make decisions that are responsible. For some reason, kids get it better. Lady Fantastic, sorry for going on. That was really supposed to be a lot quicker than it was. Congrats again on 335. Great contest. Have a good one. Bye.